Alright, so I'm making the Black Panther armor. Now for those of you that don't know how to make the chest plate, it's pretty easy. You can just basically take a cut of the breastplate from shoulders, chest, and waist, and cut it to your specifications. I basically just used my little mannequin that I have. I have a half mannequin that I just kind of set up a piece of paper on, or you can use foil or saran wrap, and then use tape over it, and then you can just kind of draw the lines where you want it, and then you can cut it. Now what I did is I also used a method that you can kind of see. You can find these on YouTube if you want, how to make muscle armor. Basically that's all it is, and it gives it kind of the shape of muscle in there, if you can kind of see the shading there. And you can make it more pronounced. I'm going to do that after, but I drew the chalk lines, and then I was like, oh shoot, every time I started doing the other side it would rub the chalk off. So I'm creating the lines, and if you can see, I already started cutting the lines kind of the way I wanted to, and that's what it looks like when you heat it up with the heat gun. This is just extras that I put on because this is what's going to make the Black Panther armor pop, but it also looks like that basically. So it has all that in there, and it has some other pieces, so you just got to make sure that when you cut it you line it up correctly, and you see how that's going to pop once it's painted and everything as well. But yeah, so I have a lot more to go basically, and I keep doing reference of the pictures, but that's kind of the idea. So I'm just going to continue cutting. Now I have to do this side and that side, which will match that side. I just heated this up so you can see it a little better, and then I'll take the chalk lines off and all that stuff. But yeah, so basically the front part of the Black Panther armor is in progress as we speak. Alright, so I made the incision lines in the foam. I'm going to use the heat gun just to kind of get those to pop, and then you should be able to see all of the different lines. I did it a little better based on my chalk lines aren't perfect, so I just cut the lines using a ruler the way that I thought it should be based on the pictures. So here we go. I have to finish these lines off, even though there's going to be a collar point here. I just wanted to make the lines kind of finish off there. So line there, if you can see that. It's like magic. This will help me see if I need to go deeper in any of these lines, if I missed anything. The reason I stopped on some of these lines is that's where we're going to have an overlay of some other foam. So that's about it right there. So as you can see, it's starting to come along, starting to look more Black Pantherish. Here we go. This is around the shoulders here. So yeah, and then I'm just going to finish, because I heated that up, I lost some of the texturing in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to heat this up, use a rock, and then I'm just going to kind of push out these pieces here just so that I can get it to pop a little more, and then I'm going to spray it and then glue on the other pieces. So I will show you that in a second. So now I'm working on the back armor of the Black Panther, and I'm trying to create the muscles. So I'll show you what I have first, and then kind of show you how I'm doing it. So here it is. Basically, I just kind of drew in the muscles of what the back muscles kind of look like. I just have three main ones for the trapezius in the middle part of the back and the bottom, and then the lats kind of come out here. So basically, I'm just heating it up, both sides. So I don't know if you can see this here, but I'm going to heat it up. Both sides. And I'm going to take a stone and I'm pulling from the top, and then notice I'm using kind of the sharper side of the stone to kind of stretch it and push through the side that I want to show up. And I just want some form to this. I'm not actually making a back muscle armor. I am, but it's like the Black Panther, so it's going to have a lot of detailing on it. But basically, I don't know if you can tell, but so little by little, it's starting to puff out in certain areas, which is what I want. And then it's going to be more pronounced with the lines once I put the glue, hot glue, in these spots here, in these spaces. So I'll do a few more just so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm doing. I'll do this top piece here. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Notice I cut accidentally over here. No biggie. As you can see, it's starting to puff out over there. So I'm going to continue doing that, and then I'll show you what we're doing with the hot glue when I get to that. Alright, once you have the general outline of your back muscles, you can kind of faintly see it. And you can continue pressing into it and continuing to do that. That'll give you even more of the muscle. But I'm also going to basically, I'm going to put glue in here, so I'm going to see if we can get it to where we can see it here. So I'm going to put some hot glue. What I'm going to do is I'm going to separate it fully so that you can see I'm going to be placing it into these cracks here. And go slow. You want it to fill in every part of the crack there so that it keeps it separate. So once that happens, you have to let it dry a little bit. Get those lines to happen. So I filled it with glue, and now I'm just waiting for it to dry in this separated state. You want it to reach in the bottom of all of those crevices. You can blow on it, let it dry and cool. And I'm just going to kind of turn it around, and you see what it does. It creates the line so that even when you bring it back to more of a stable shape around your shoulders or whatever, it's going to have that line. So it's going to give it some back muscles. So I'm just going to apply that for the rest of the muscles here, and that'll give me something to work with as far as the back portion of my Black Panther. So let's see how the rest go. Alright. So I drew out a stencil, and basically what I did is I just took some pieces of typing paper, taped them together, taped them onto the back of my foam piece, and then I drew out where I wanted the actual layout of the stencils. Now, I didn't finish all of this, but I'm going to do it in foam. Is basically the inscription lines to make it look like they're separate pieces, but it's easier to keep them together so you don't have to line each one up and have them kind of come out kind of funny. So basically that's the whole back piece of the Black Panther armor, and then I cut out each individual piece so I can trace it onto the foam, which I did there, and I cut out the foam and inscribed it in there so that you can heat it up and have the lines show through so it looks like separate pieces. And then as far as the actual back piece, I wanted to see how it would fit, so I just cut little by little off the shoulders, and then I taped them together so I could see if it fits through my head, and then if the neckline and the back line fit where I wanted it. So basically that's how I got the sizing for my actual armor. And then when I piece it together and glue it and spray paint it, basically I'm going to spray paint the small pieces with a gloss finish, and then this is going to be more of a flat black finish or satin. And then I'm going to put it on, because if you look at the actual costume, there is a difference in the gloss between some of like the pieces that are on there and the other ones that are not. So that's up to you how you want to do that, but that's the progress so far. Alright, and I'll see you in the next segment. So here's the neck piece for the Black Panther armor. So I cut the pieces to fit my size, and I'm getting ready to glue it on. So I added some of the glue to it already, and I'm going to start gluing it together. Alright, so I'm here making the neck piece for the Black Panther cosplay for the breastplate armor. So as you can see, let's click this up a little bit. Here's the breastplate that I'm making so far. I have tape on here because I am going to be putting the neck piece onto there. And so I wanted to test it out, make sure that it fit well, so I taped it on there to see how it fits and all that good stuff. And I will do that so you can kind of see it real quick. And then I already put the incisions of the design pattern that I wanted onto the neck piece, so you can see me heat it up and have it come through. So I have a small little piece that I'm leaving off. It's actually going into the back of the piece here, and it's actually going to fit just right, but I have to glue it in. So if you can see that, it's just going to basically glue in there, and it's going to be separate because I want this neck piece to fit over my head, and so I have to put my head through here sideways, so it needs that flap and that opening to get my head through there, because this is going to be actually glued onto here and be part of the breastplate, so that I don't have to do a whole lot. I'm going to put some Velcro here and here so that it pieces those together and it keeps it almost flush, and then I put my Black Panther helmet over that. So real quick, I will heat up the neck piece. And you can see it come through here. So as you can see, it's made it around, and what I'm going to do is right here, if you can see this, I'm going to squish it onto the ground a little bit so that it can develop the shape that I want. If you can see that, I'm keeping it in a circle, which is where it goes on the chest plate, and I'm squishing it on the ground so it can create that creasing of the neck. So that's it. And then if you want, if you feel like some of these are coming undone, you could always heat it up really quick and just reseal it if it has the glue on it still, which it should if you applied it correctly. And there it is. So I'm not planning on robbing a place. I'm wearing this because this is what's going to go under my Black Panther mask. Now, if you can see, I have the neck piece on the Black Panther armor. And as you can tell, what I did is I cut this so that my head will actually fit through there. It's pretty narrow, and it actually is a really tight fit. I made it just perfectly to fit. So what happens is I slide it on through, and I'll show you this here. So I actually closed one side off as well. So what I do is I put my arm through one side, and then my head goes through this, and I do it almost sideways. Now it's going to be a tight fit. So this will help me to keep it. I'm going to put some Velcro here and then some straps. And then I have that so that the neck piece, if you can tell, will cover up the rest of my face. So here, it just goes on my head. Make sure that it's right where I want it. There it is. So, here's the neck piece. Not completely finished, but pretty dang close. So, we're getting closer. Let me see if I can zoom out here. So, sorry about the kitchen, but so that's part of the armor there. I do have these straps which have Velcro on it, which is going to go on the back where those slits are so that it can Velcro shut and keep it tight to my neck. And then I also have, I spray painted a bunch of the pieces that are going to glue to the armor. I made it gloss black so that it's a different color than the satin black that's on my armor. So I'll show you that as I put it through and finish that up. So here I'm just lining up the back pieces, and if you can see I'm using chalk. Make sure you use chalk so it's easy to wipe off. If you do it with pen, you'll see it in the light. And be careful not to put too much glue here, because if you notice there's going to be portions of it that are shiny. So you want to use as little as possible, enough to get it to stick, but not too much that you see it in the underside. So, and then of course line it up, make sure you have it where you want it. You can always cut some of it once it's on to take some off, or to add more depth to the lines once it's glued. So that's what's next. Alright, so now I have to make the necklace portion of the armor. So I'm going to show you what I did. I bought a cheap necklace. One was kind of a little more ornamental, and it was about 12 bucks. You could probably get it a little cheaper from China for like $6 or whatever. I just wanted a little faster shipping so I could make this video for you guys. The other one I got for about $4, but you could probably get it for $2 from China, or 99 cents. But let me flip this around, I'll kind of show you. So basically, these are the necklaces. Now, this one is the one that I got for a little more, for 12 something. And this one I got for 4. What I'm going to do is, basically, this just glues on these pieces. So basically I just pulled them off. I'm going to cut the little metal piece off, and I'm going to place them basically around the neck portion of the armor. So that's going to add some nice pop and a little bit of a metallic look. As you can see, it's not a perfect match for my armor, and so I'm just popping these off and I'm going to be gluing them on. So I'll show you that when it's done, and yeah, we'll see that here. So I'm making the arm pieces for the side of the armor. Basically it's kind of going to look like that. It's going to have a band that connects it to there, and then it's going to have a bicep tricep piece. So that's what this is, bicep tricep piece. I basically cut the size I want, and I can show you on the next one when I actually put it together, but I was just trying to test it, and that's basically what it's going to look like. I'm going to have it glued in there, but I'm going to have a elastic band right here so I can slide my arm through. Basically this is the left side. So if you can see, that's the bicep piece right there. This is the tricep piece, and then it's going to have the delt piece that just attaches to it, and then it's going to have of course the Black Panther detailing on it, and that's going to be it for the upper piece of armor. So when I have it put together, I'll kind of show you what it looks like. So, and I have to spray paint it, of course, and detail it. So now I'm doing the shoulder pieces. I attached the warbler. What I did is I just used some basic contact cement, brushed it under the underside of the warbler. I painted it first, kept it flat, put the contact cement, placed it on here as well, and when I was ready I just heated it up just a little bit so I could press it on the way that I wanted it. And you can tell that I added a gloss coat on this version. This is just the satin. So satin, gloss coat with the satin underneath. Now, if you look, you can see I created one line already. You want to add these indenture lines in there for the detailing. I used a mechanical pencil and I just kind of traced out where the lines are going to go. And what I do is, you can probably use a X-Acto knife if you want. I have a metal ruler, so I'm just using that. And what I'm going to do is just very lightly, I'm going to heat it up just enough, and I'm going to follow that line with my ruler, and I'm going to just kind of create the line that I want in that spot. So if it doesn't feel like it's deep enough, go ahead and heat it up a little bit more. You just don't want it to like get so soft that it kind of melts into the actual pattern of the under foam, because then you're gonna not have that look that you want out of it, that feel. So just be careful not to overdo the pattern of the under foam, or the heating of it. Yeah, so here we go. Alright, so you can kind of see it here. I might add a little bit more of a line to this. Now another thing you can do is take the X-Acto. I tried this just to see, and just while it's still kind of soft, is scour it a little bit so that it creates that line that you want. And it'll make kind of a deeper cut into there. The thing you have to watch for is the paint. because the paint will start to kind of chip or flake. So you want to be careful there doing that. You can still kind of heat it and repeat, and it should kind of smooth it out a little bit if you push it down with your finger. But really with the paint, you know, you're going to have to be a little more careful, because you don't want to create, you know, those lines in here. You see how I'm kind of pushing and it's almost too hard. It's creating the same pattern. You don't want that pattern on there if possible. So just be careful when you do it, not to press too hard with your pattern here. But let's finish this off so you can kind of see where I'm going with it. The good thing is this X-Acto will follow the line. You just have to be careful with it. I don't know if you guys can see this, but there we go. So you can kind of see the line I'm creating through there. I don't know if you can see that on this one right there. So that's it. That's basically what you're going to do for it to create that. And I'll show you the finished one. I'll add the piece to glue to the body armor, and it'll be done. Armor. I tried to get good lighting so you can actually see it. You can tell that there's some gloss to it. But yeah, this is what it looks like. I have Velcro. I slit the necks here and in the back, and I have Velcro that pushes it together so I can just barely fit my head through here, and then put the Velcro on so it looks like the neck cowl or the neck piece part. Now for the Black Panther shoulder, like I was showing earlier, if you heat it too long, you'll see some of the texturing from underneath. So just be careful if you don't want it to look like it has that sewn look to it or something. Some of it I heated just a little bit longer than I should have. So just be real careful. Just brush over it like once or twice with the heat gun, and then create your lines in there so that you have some of that. But basically, I don't have it attaching to anything. I have it tight enough that it just barely fits my arms. And again, I have like Velcro elastic here. I'm sorry, not Velcro, but elastic glued in here so that I can actually throw it on over my arms. And notice how tight it is. It's a pretty dang tight fit so that it's not going to go anywhere once I have it on. You see how that works? So I have that for both sides. Let's go ahead and pull down your under costume, and then go ahead and press it up and over. There we go. Now we have a full Black Panther muscle look the way that I made it. Throw the back piece on because you guys have seen most of it, but boom. Now Black Panther, again, you could throw on the gloves, throw on the headpiece, throw on the back of the helmet, and you have your own ready-made Black Panther from Wakanda cosplay. So I hope this video was informative and it helped you to make or start your own Black Panther cosplay. Hopefully this will shortcut things for you so that any problems that you run into, I've kind of figured out some of them for you. I know I like the way that the neck piece turned out for me. It was kind of trial and error. I barely can get my head through it, but it's just enough, and then the neck piece fits tightly. I like the silver accents from the necklaces I used rather than making them out of foam and painting them silver. So these are all little things that hopefully will give that detail and make it look that much more authentic. If you like this video and if it's successful, go ahead and comment. Let me know how this helped you, and I'm looking forward to making a few others. I already have a whole bunch of other cosplays planned in the works, and my next one I believe I'm making is the X-Men Days of Future Past cosplay for Wolverine. I'm going to make that chest plate and the cowl out of Eva Foam with maybe a little bit of Warbler. So I'll show you how I do that if this is a hit and if you guys enjoy this type of video. So like, subscribe, and let me know, and I will see you when you make your next cosplay.